Okay, today's video is going to be what the questions that I always ask an owner before I go on the listing appointment. Now, we just did a video of how to prepare for the listing appointment to nail it first time every time, and this video is here for you to watch. But after that, I got a lot of questions about, can I have a list of the questions you ask before you go on the appointment? So that's what this video is about today. I'm Nancy Dykeman. I'm a broker in Florida. I've been a listing agent for many, many years, and these are the questions that worked for me. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask is, do you live in the home, or is it a vacation home? Or is it an investment? If I don't already know the answer. So they're going to answer that question. I'm going to say, fantastic. How long have you owned the home? And they're going to tell me 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, whatever that is. Whatever that answer is, it's a very simple question for them to answer. I'm going to say, wonderful, 10 years. Whatever that answer is, I'm going to repeat and affirm. So my next question to them is, what time frame in mind do you have for getting it sold? Some people want it sold yesterday. Some people want it sold in 3 months. They have an idea. If they're not in a hurry, they'll tell you, I'm not in a hurry. I got that a lot. And sometimes they were in a hurry, so that was a little bit of a trick. So whatever their answer is, I would repeat it. Okay, not in a hurry, wonderful. So have you already chosen a home to replace it? Now this is if it's their primary residence. Have you already found a new home to replace it? That's a really good question to know how far along they are in the process. Have they already purchased another home? They're going to be super motivated. I need to know that to be able to help them more. Have you made any major repairs or improvements to the home? Or you could say, what major repairs or improvements have you done to the home? Because of course you can look up most things on the tax rolls, but they might have done something to the home since they last bought it that they haven't told you about. So that's good to know before you go out also, because you can compliment them on that improvement. Okay, and right now roofs are a big deal. If you're looking at a 15-year-old home or older, you're going to want to know if they've replaced that roof. So that's a very good question to ask, and listen carefully to those answers, because those answers that they're giving you on these questions where they have to be more lengthy with their answer tells you a little bit about what personality type they are, and that's going to help you also when you get on the appointment. Are you planning to leave the furnishings or golf cart? And you know, some of us don't have a golf cart, okay, but if you're in one of the communities that we have here, yes, they have golf carts. So that's an appropriate or inappropriate question depending on where you live and depending on who you're calling. So are you planning to leave the furnishings or anything else like a golf cart? You could ask that question. Are you interested in holding the financing for the buyer, or do you want your cash out? Why do we ask this question? Because sometimes people say, yes, I'm interested in holding financing. I hadn't thought about that. Actually, maybe 1 out of 10, not a lot, but some people do. Some people would be interested in holding some financing. You could ask the next question is, do you have a mortgage on the home now? Or you could ask, how much do you owe on the home? And if they don't have a mortgage, they're going to tell you, I don't owe anything on the home. Or they'll tell you what their mortgage payment is. Why do you need to know this? You need to know because they might owe more than the home's worth. It's not likely anymore. Most people have a lot of equity in their home, but it could happen. It could happen. It happens sometimes if the people have a reverse mortgage on the property and they've lived there a number of years without making a payment. It can happen. So you need to find out what their equity situation is. So you ask, how much do you owe on the home? Or do you have a mortgage on the home now? And if so, what's the amount? The next question is actually more of a statement. Please describe your home for me, or please tell me a little bit about your home. You could say it either way. The reason you're going to ask this question is because you want to find out a little bit more about their personality type. And if you don't know personality types, we're going to have a video on that too. But most people who've been in real estate a number of years have studied the DISC profile, the DISC profile. And they know a little bit about the 4 major types of personalities. So by asking this question, you can key in on what personality type that is before you get there. The trick in this technique is that you might be talking to the husband and the wife might be totally different, or vice versa. So be aware that when you get there, you could have some unexpecteds. But when they describe their home for you, If they're an expressive, they're going to be very expressive about their home. If they're a D on the disc profile, they're going to say it's a 3-2 with a 2-car garage and a screen back porch. Boom. They get to the point. They're people who get to the point. If they're expressive, they're going to tell you how wonderful their home is. If they're an analytical, they're going to give you, which is a C on the disc profile, they're going to talk with you about the square footages a lot, or specific things to do with engineering, a few things like that. So, and if they're an S on the profile, they might talk about having raised their family there, or something of that nature. So you just can key in a little bit more to know them better before you get there. Just that you're going to know a little bit more about them before you go out to the home. And you can actually gear your interview that way for when you do arrive. The next question is one that a lot of agents don't want to ask, and that is, are you interviewing other agents for the job of selling your home? Some people are very afraid to ask this question. Some agents are. But don't you want to know if you're the only one or if they're interviewing other agents? And even sometimes when it's a personal referral, they're interviewing other agents. Even sometimes if it's your past customer, they're interviewing other agents. So don't assume that because you have an in with that particular listing that they're not interviewing other agents. They may very well be. You might not want to ask the question on the pre-listing questionnaire, but you might ask it when you get there, right? After you've built some rapport. But at some point you're going to want to ask the question. Do you have an idea what you want to list the home for? Do you know what you want to list your home for? If you're dealing with a D, what do you want to list your home for? If you're dealing with an expressive, do you have any idea how much you'd like to list your home for? So that's, you just change the question a little bit. But it's the same question. Some agents are afraid to ask this question because they know that the most common answer is going to be, that's why I'm having you out, bro. Right? I want you to tell me what my home is worth. That's why you're coming out to see me. So that's the most common answer you're going to get. Probably without the bro. Okay, the next question is, it's not a question either. And you can't do this if you don't have a pre-listing package. But you tell them, I'm sitting over a pre-listing package. You could call it, I'm sitting over a package of information for you to review. Would you take a few minutes and look it over before I arrive? So if you're not using a pre-listing package, you can't use that one. And then you want to let them know, our appointment is going to take only about 30 minutes to 45 minutes or 30 minutes to an hour or however long your appointment takes. Believe me, they don't want it to take 2 hours. They don't. They want it to be shorter rather than longer. The real script that I was supposed to use for this was 15 to 25 minutes. Well, I never got out of a listing appointment in 25 minutes or 15 minutes. So I tried to change it to what worked for me, which is 30 to 45 minutes or 30 minutes to an hour. And so you're getting their permission to take that time when you say, is that okay with you? They gave you permission right then to take the time that you need. But don't start out with 2 hours because they may just cancel you right on the spot. The next question I'd always ask, and I always ask this one, do you have any other questions before I arrive? And what do you think the question would most commonly be? The most common question I got, what is your commission? What do you charge? That was the most common question I got asked. So the answer was always without question. That is a great question. I'll be sure to cover that as one of the first things when I arrive at your house today at 4 o'clock. Okay? That was my answer. Didn't want to answer that over the phone because it depended on a lot of things. And if I started explaining that I wasn't going to get off the phone. If I started explaining, that depends on a lot of factors, and started explaining those factors, not good. I was going to have to go into my listing presentation right then, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to know what was the foremost thing on their mind, and that was the natural most foremost thing on their mind. I think it is on most people's mind in today's world. How much are you going to charge? That's one of the first things. they'd call into the office and say, I want to list my house. How much do you charge? Before they even asked what we were going to do. So we know that's on the forefront of people's minds. When you arrive at the home, it's usually actually not the first question that comes up. It's usually one of the last ones. So don't worry about it if that's what they're, don't get emotional about that one. Don't even worry about it. It's not really an objection, and you can't handle it over the phone anyway. Don't worry about it. Just say, that's a great question. I'll be sure to take care of that when I get there. And then you just say, I look forward to seeing you on Friday at 4 or whatever the appointment is. You're reiterating when the appointment is. And that's it. That's all the questions I used to ask. There was one that I left out that my trainer trained me to ask that I left out, which is, are you planning to list your home with me when I arrive Friday at 4? I never asked that question. I maybe should have, but I left it off. So, but it's your prerogative whether you leave it off or not. Now, I've included some videos of other agents who have great questions that they ask before they go on a listing appointment. So there's some other pre-listing video here for you to watch. Enjoy, use what you like, take away what you don't like, and make your own. Thanks, and have a great day.